So, how do you make your college list? That is exactly what we are going to talk about in this video. My name is Kristina of Ivy Lounge Test Prep, and for the last 15 years, I've helped high schoolers all around the globe dramatically raise their SAT and ACT test scores, write compelling and very authentic to them college application essays, and ultimately land spots at their dream colleges. So let's dive in. So if you just finished your sophomore or your junior year of high school, there is one item that should definitely be on your to-do list. And that is this: figuring out which colleges you're going to apply to. So the college application process involves like a lot of moving parts and juggling. Like you've got to figure out if you need to take the SAT or the ACT. If so, like what scores you need. You have to study for and take test of choice, SAT or ACT, often multiple times. You're going to request letters of recommendation. You're going to be drafting supplemental essays for the Common App. You're going to be answering a bunch of additional questions that might be on a college's specific application that isn't just on the Common App. It's a long haul. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And in my 15 years and counting of helping students accomplish just that, here's what I have found: that it is a lot easier to do this potentially grueling process if you have a very, very clear vision of a school that you would really love to attend. Now, if you've just wrapped up 11th grade, you should currently be putting in finishing touches on your list of target colleges so that you can start getting all of those moving parts I just mentioned for your college applications in order. But even if you're only a rising junior, i.e., you just finished 10th grade and you're about to go to 11th grade, you should still have your college list on your mind. Now, why, you might ask? Well, it's this: if you don't even know the type of school that you wish to apply to, then you won't be able to craft your standardized testing game plan, i.e., like which test, if any, you need to take, and then create your target score of what you actually need to get in, and then work backwards to actually like study for and attain that. So as you can see, mastering this whole college process begins with giving some thought to which colleges you might want to like endure this whole process for. Yes, this is a little bit of like a chicken and an egg scenario because the components do affect each other. Like your test score does affect which colleges you can apply to, but which colleges you apply to affects which score you need. But you do have to start somewhere, knowing it's an iterative process and things will change as you go. So now let's make your list of colleges. And bonus, we're going to do this in basically 5 easy steps. So I'm going to ask you to answer a few different types of questions, beginning with like the most crucial questions and then working down to the less essential, but still very relevant for your future college happiness questions. Now, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to answer these questions for yourself, right? Luckily, the internet does make it really easy. All you have to do is like use Google or ChatGPT, and you can pretty much find a lot of the initial answers easily. So step number 1, identify any strict parameters and deal breakers for a college you may want to attend. Now, the most obvious types of parameters have to do with location and cost. So answer these for yourself. Like, do you have a strict budget of how much you can pay for tuition? If so, what is that budget? Do you have like any idea, ballpark even? Do you require financial aid or merit aid in order to pay for college? And if so, do you need to prioritize colleges that will offer it generously? Do you need to attend a college or a university close by to your family? Do you need warm weather, or do you like wilt in the heat and you need some cooler climes? Do you need proximity to a big city and the culture and the diversity that entails? Or do you need like a more suburban, remote location for your peace of mind? Furthermore, we have to look at what is going on politically in our good old US of A. So in light of some recent Supreme Court rulings and some executive orders, there are many rights that are being taken away from certain groups of people and in certain states. So you might also need to ask yourself the following questions. So if you were assigned female at birth, is it important for you that you be able to make informed healthcare decisions about your own body? If it is, you might need to limit your college search to states that don't force women's bodies into childbirth and that provide access to contraception. Now, if you were assigned male at birth and you might become sexually intimate with people who can become pregnant, and you do not desire to become a parent during your 4 years at college, then you too might consider applying only to institutions in states that allow more reproductive healthcare options for people with uteruses. If you identify as LGBTQ+, is it important for you that you're legally protected from discrimination? If it is, you might limit your college search to states that ensure equality for all people, sexual orientation and gender expression aside. And especially if you identify as trans or non-binary, you may want to look into colleges only in states where you have the healthcare options that you need and require. So it's really handy to figure out, like, on day one, what your hard must-haves and no's are, because that way you don't have to do research for like every college on the planet. Instead, you can filter out the no's really quickly, and then you can do a deeper dive on the others that are left over. And believe me, there will be plenty left over. Now, some additional resources for this initial search that are quite excellent. So you could go to collegedata.com. You could go to the FISC Guide to Colleges. That's FISKE Guide to Colleges. You can also look at the Princeton Review's Guide to the Best 386 colleges. And that is step one, and that is figure out any strict parameters and deal breakers for your college search. So now step two is figure out, what do you want to study? Now, I hear you. If you're going through this process, you're still a teenager, right? That said, I find that many of my private tutoring clients already have like some sense of their academic and or their like creative passions. So maybe you have an inkling too. Of course, like, that's not to say things don't change over time. I can speak for myself. Like, I started Brown as an engineering concentrator, and over the course of the 4 years, changed a couple times and ended up graduating with a double concentration in music and Italian and ended up being an opera singer. So yes, people change ideas all the time. In fact, some of my tutoring students often start out as like avid theater kids or soccer players, and then later they pursue careers as like engineers, lawyers, or even famous musicians. However, if you do have a certain career dream or even like a vague leaning towards a certain career path, it does help you find a great college that much more easily. For example, like if you want to study something super, super specific, like forestry, or in my case, opera singing, then a college or a university with only a general biology or fine arts might not make the most sense for you. On the other hand, if you have no idea what you want to study, not even like maybe STEM or something involving English and writing and communications, then that can affect what type of college you might want to put on your list as well. So if that's you, you should be applying to maybe more flexible schools, like maybe a liberal arts college where you don't have to declare a major right away. Or if you're looking for a big university, maybe you're applying to like the College of Arts and Sciences within that bigger university, because that's the one with like all the different majors and is more flexible. So that's what you should probably be doing instead of something super selective like the College of Veterinary Sciences within a larger university. Now, if you want to research this question even more, what I would highly recommend is that you go to the specific college's website and you would click on a tab. Either it would be called majors, maybe it would be called academics, or even departments, varies based on the website, and see if they can meet your subject specific goals. So that is step number two, is figure out what you want to study and if you can meet those requirements at certain schools that you are starting to research. So if you're new to my universe, again, my name is Kristina of Ivy Lounge Test Prep. And again, I've helped high schoolers all over the globe get into their dream schools by helping them raise their test scores and write very compelling and authentic to them college application essays. So now I have a question for you, and that is, do you already have the beginnings or even the endings of a college list? And if so, how did you come up with your schools? I'm curious. I want to know. So just write it in the comments. Let me know. Yes, I've done that. I have like 12 schools. I have 5 schools, whatever it is. And while you're at it, go ahead and just like this video, give it a nice thumbs up, and you might as well just subscribe to my channel. And then that way, every week when I drop the latest in tips and tricks, hacks, advice, and news for the SAT, the ACT, and college application essays, you'll be the very first to know. So now let's go to step number 3. And that is, do you need a specific learning environment in order to thrive academically? So like after you figure out like what you want to study, make sure that the how works for you as well. So ask yourself these questions. So do you need small interactive classes in order to like really get it? Do you need an institution with more substantial academic advising and handholding to guide you through your 4 years? Or are you super down with like big lecture halls where you have less interaction and have to be a little bit more self-motivated and self-directed to learn the material? Are you a great self-advocate and you feel totally comfortable seeking out opportunities and the guidance that you need? Do you have any learning differences and you need to attend somewhere that offers you the support that you require in that area? So like once you've sketched out what your needs are in this area, then if a college doesn't fit that at all, you can just go ahead and cross it off your list. Now, in order to really research this area, if a Google search is not helping you and the college's website is not helping you, then it might be time for a little bit more involved research. Maybe you attend the campus and you actually visit. Maybe you have a virtual tour or an informational session. Maybe you even email the college's regional admissions officers with your questions to get them answered. So that is step number 3 is, do you need a particular learning environment in order to thrive in college? So now step 4 is, what activities and opportunities do you want to participate in? So after you've concluded that this school is in a part of the country or climate that you like, you can afford it, it has the academics you want to study, or at least the flexibility you need to study what you want, and it has the right learning environment for you, now it's time for the good stuff. You want to make sure that you're going to have access to the activities that like really make your heart sing, so that you spend the next 4 years exploring and expanding upon your curiosities and getting a clearer picture about your true passions, interest, and purpose. But now, like in order to do that, we have to start with what you're interested in now. So ask yourself, is there a certain extracurricular activity that you want to keep doing in college? Is your particular sport offered at that college? Is the team on your level? Like, would you actually get a chance to play? If you're a performer, do they have the right performance opportunities and classes and teachers for you? If you want to study abroad, then does this college offer opportunities to do so without your time away making a mess of your ability to graduate in 4 years? If you're a science person, do undergraduates get to do research? Do you get to do hands-on stuff? Does this college have communities you want to be a part of or are already a part of? So if the answer is no, is it feasible to like start your own club or group in that institution? If so, like what's the process? Now, to do research for this, what I would do is go to each college's website and I would click on something along the lines of student life or extracurriculars or clubs. Now take note of what's available, take note of what's not available, and then go poking around the club's like social media pages and websites to see what they're like really up to. Now, if you haven't visited the campus already and you don't think you're going to be able to, then you can also get a sense for a given college's vibe from campusreel.org. That's campusreel.org. Campus Reel is a really cool resource that offers reviews of colleges and college video tours created by the students themselves. So that's number 4, figure out your activities and if they line up. Okay, now we are on to our 5th step, and that is actually writing your college list. So at this point, you probably have several colleges and universities that are on the table and that did not get cut after you went through the 4 previous steps. Hopefully, there are several you're like actually psyched about and would love to attend. So now that we've done some preliminary research and we've created a vision for you, we need to get a little bit technical and realistic as well. So what you're going to do is this. For each school, you can go to collegedata.com. You can also go to bigfuture.collegeboard.org, and you are going to look up the range of GPA and test scores for the most recent matriculating freshman year class for each of the schools. Now, the ranges that these websites provide is usually the middle 50% of the class. So from the 25th percentile to the 75th percentile, meaning that half of the students are going to be above that range and half are going to be below that range. So for each school that you have on your list so far, if you fall within that range for grades and standardized test scores, if they require test scores, then you are going to label it a target school. Now, what if your grades and your test scores are below that middle 50% of the freshman students for GPA and for scores? Then we're going to call that a reach school. So you're going to label it. Finally, what happens if your grades and your test scores are above that middle 50% range? Well, in that case, we are going to call it a favorable school. So now once you've collected this info, this is what you're going to do. Okay, so if you just completed your junior year, that means you're either done or you're close to being done with getting whatever test scores on the SAT or ACT you might need. Like you only have a couple test sittings left. Now, at this point in time, yes, you may still be able to improve your scores a fair bit. And if you still need help, by all means, contact me and I can point you in the right direction if one-on-one tutoring would help, or if you would benefit from an ebook or an online course that I have. But you're probably not going to be able to totally turn around a test score. And also, your cumulative GPA at this point in time, you're not going to really be able to change it before you start sending in those first applications. So if your GPA as of now, right, the end of junior year, isn't really up to snuff, that's not really changing. So the schools, however you labeled them as, is it a reach? Is it a target? Is it a favorable? That's probably not changing too much. When you make your ultimate college list, I just want you to make sure that you have a significant amount of target and favorable schools on your list. Like they cannot be all reaches, right? So if you ultimately wanted to apply to 12 schools, let's say, I would shoot for maybe 6, like half of them that are targets, and then sure, 3 that are reaches, and then have 3 that are favorables. And then that would be pretty well-rounded and we've hedged our bets. Now, if you have a little more time, you're just starting junior year. So you're in between, say, sophomore and junior year, or you're even younger, then I have good news for you. And that is, do not be discouraged by the test score requirements of the schools that you have on your list so far, because chances are you might not have even taken the SAT or ACT yet. And here's the other thing is you have several attempts left to go. You have over a whole year's worth of attempts to go. And guess what? Now that we know what scores we need to aim for, we can create a target score and we can work to get there. So it is not unusual for my private one-on-one SAT and ACT students to increase 5 to 8 ACT composite points or 200 to 400 SAT points. Okay, given my streamlined process that I use to get superior results in as efficient a timeline as possible. So don't let the test scores stop you from putting a school on your list and reaching your goals. But you do want to make sure that your GPA is more or less in line with the GPA of the schools that you're aiming for. You've already done maybe 2 years and we can't change those. Yes, you've got junior year left before you're going to start submitting applications, so things could change some, but you're not going to turn around a 2.5 GPA into a 4. Now, as you're doing this, you're going to keep coming back to your college list. You're going to be changing this college list as you get a little bit more clear on what you're even looking for in a college and what you want your college experience to be like. You'll be adding more schools and taking some of the schools off. So there you have it. That is my 5-step method for figuring out which colleges to apply to. And if you need help organizing and crafting your college application essays, then I have good news, and that is I'm including a link below so you can see the packages of how to work with me to do that, write a killer personal statement. There's also an amazing PDF I have about the personal statement, and I will include the link for that too. And if you're just starting out this process and you're kind of freaked out about the whole like getting into college thing, like how standardized testing, essays, all of it works, then I actually have a free resource available for you. And that is my roughly an hour long workshop called your Fail Proof College Prep Plan. Check it out in the link below.